Here's a new question. Have you ever peeked inside a rat's eyeball? Well, thanks to the Nikon Small World Competition, you can. This photo, taken through a light microscope, won the contest this year. To tell us more about it is our science specialist, Darius Mahdavi. Yes, he does things beyond weather. Darius, that is wild. How did they do that?
Yeah, I mean, what a photo, right? Let's take another look. So what we're looking at here, as you said, Dan, is a rat eyeball. So the black you see at the very back there, that's the optic nerve carrying the signal of whatever the rat is seeing back to the brain. The red is what we call contractile proteins, so they sort of envelop the blood vessels and determine how much blood gets to the eye. In yellow, those are what we call astrocytes. They're sort of one of the immune cells of the eye, of the retina. And in blue, all those little dots, those are all different cells, the center of different cells, the nuclei, that just make up the entire eyeball. So to capture everything requires painstakingly going through each layer. Every single different type of cell, every protein in there has to be tagged with a different fluorescent protein, so they go a different color. They have to be imaged separately and all compiled. So then everything is in focus, and you get the photo like that.
It is incredible. It's actually quite beautiful. Are all the photos this close up and this high res?
This high res, yes, but there's a huge variety in terms of what you're looking at, sort of how, as you said, close up they are. So this is an annual competition to showcase the best in microscopy from every sort of discipline of science. And so if you take a look at this next photo, you can see this is actually the embryo of a mouse. And this is taken using a new technique called super resolution that actually won the Nobel Prize in 2014. So we talked to Dr. Robin Young. She's an assistant professor of biology at UBC Okanagan. And you can, here's what she had to say about how the competition showcases how technology has evolved over the years.
They now have those little things you can add to your smartphone camera that allow you to do microscopes. So that kind of stuff would count. And then it goes all the way up to some of the most advanced technology right now is what we call super resolution microscopy, where sort of effectively they've broken the barrier of what you're capable of resolving with a traditional light microscope.
So if you go to their website at nikonsmallworld.com, you can see all the photos going back to the very first year, 49 years ago, so almost a half century of photos, and you can see how the technology has evolved and how now, thanks to things like super resolution, we can capture more detail than we ever thought possible.
I mean, it is stunning. And what is it that makes, for example, this competition so special?
Well, there's a lot of things that really set this apart, but when I talked to Dr. Young, she said that she actually won back in 2011. She came fourth with a photo, and she talked about how this really captures the beauty of science, or the art of science. If you take a look here, you can see the photo that she won with, or came fourth place with, which is a real accomplishment considering how many photos actually get submitted. This was using a fairly new technology at the time called two-electron microscopy, and this is of a fluorescent liverwort, which she actually found right at Pacific Spirit Park, right by UBC. And it's a real testament to the new technology that was being developed. And she said as soon as she saw this photo, she knew she had to share it, and so that's why she submitted it. And this photo she also created, which was an image of distinction that year, and shows one of the reproductive organs of that same liverwort. And here's what she had to say about what winning the competition meant to her.
Scientifically, we worry more about the resolution and the crispness, but the beauty is most microscopists would argue that they also care that it looks good. I've published papers. I've done really cool research. You know, I feel like I've made some marks on the scientific discoveries of the world, but none of that has been nearly as much fun as this one set of pictures I took back in 2010.
So all in all, just a really heartwarming sentiment. She said she looks forward to seeing the Nikon Small World photos get released more than she does the Nobel Prizes announced each year. So if you want to see them, again, you can go to nikonsmallworld.com or keep an eye out at Science World, which typically displays the photos here in Vancouver every year.
Those are incredible, and they are beautiful. Darius Mahdavi, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.